Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And right now it is Saturday, March 16th. It's the afternoon here, and it's my understanding that yesterday, on Friday, March 15th, the Criterion Collection made its announcement with respect to the releases that it plans to make in June of 2024. And so if it's okay with you, I'd like to share with you some thoughts and comments I have, my initial thoughts and comments that I have with respect to this very interesting collection of planned releases for June 2024 from the Criterion Collection. And before we begin, I should point out that the information about these new planned releases for June 2024 can be found directly on the Criterion Collection website. And so if you're interested, please, of course, check the website directly for information about the films themselves, write-ups, synopses, planned cover art designs, release dates, spine number information, also technical specifications, and planned supplements, etc. So please check the website directly for more information about those planned June 2024 titles, as well as other titles in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. And I should point out too that these will be my initial impressions, and these impressions might change, or my viewpoints might change, or perspectives might change when we actually, you and I together, explore the title directly when it arrives. And so I look forward to that day and that opportunity, my dear friends, very much. But before that opportunity presents itself, let us, for the time being, just speak about our initial impressions about these planned set of releases from Criterion from June 2024. So without further ado, let us jump right in. And we are now jumping right into June 4th, 2024. That's the planned release date for this first title, which is at spine number 175. And so it is a title that already currently exists in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog with a DVD release as well as a Blu-ray release. And so now we are going to get a 4K plus Blu-ray release option, and purporting to be based on what is described as a new 4K digital restoration of this work, which is described as being from the year 1998. Yes, and the filmmaker is Terry Gilliam. And this is the work which is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is one of those really quite surreal odyssey films that is very quirky and also very, I think, intently dark and funny, as well as quite provocative, and I think in very large doses quite disturbing, as well as a type of road trip movie, an adventure film. There are elements of the abstract, quite poetically, cinematically, poetically absurd and abstract, again in the hands of Terry Gilliam and company. And so the 4K release is now going to be made available via the Criterion Collection. It is, I think, a very exciting thing. As some of you might know, when Criterion began its 4K physical media journey, a lot of the titles of Terry Gilliam began to slowly emerge with their 4K new alternative equivalents. And so we've had past releases of Terry Gilliam titles such as The Fisher King and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, etc. And now we have yet another title directed by Terry Gilliam to grace the shelves, but this time with the 4K plus Blu-ray format option. So that is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's a very, I think, fascinating and quite important film in the context of Terry Gilliam's career, as well as, I think, pointing a lot of interesting inroads as well as external avenues and roads outwards, and creating this surreal mix of the odd and the accentuated in this very vivid way. So Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, it is re-emerging in the Criterion Collection when June 4th, 2024 arrives. So I think it'll be my first opportunity to, yes, speak about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't think I've ever had a chance to speak about this in the context of this YouTube channel before. I've seen it a number of times. It got quite the release as far as I remember when I was around in the late 90s. So it got a lot of attention in that respect. So And then, of course, subsequent, we've had a number of releases over the years, and now the upcoming planned release or re-release by Criterion. So I'm very excited about this, to be able to talk to you about this film again when we get a chance to explore it later in the year. But first up in June, we have the re-release of this really accentuated and vivid work, which is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Next, we have a film scheduled for release June 11th, 2024, and this is for spine number 1221. And we have the Blu-ray option, a single disc Blu-ray option, or a single disc DVD option. So it's really nice to see the DVD option also being made available for a film which is described as being from the year 1982. And the name of the filmmaker is Rainer Werner Fassbinder. So the Fassbinder work that is coming to the Criterion Collection is the work which is QUERELLE. So QUERELLE is coming to the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. Wow. This is a stunner. This is a film that is very, I think, involved and involving. It is, in many ways, I think, in keeping with what one might call the Fassbinder cinematic philosophy and aesthetic on the one hand. It is very highly stylized, I think, very rich and quite challenging and engaging in terms of the types of, say, stylized imagery, for instance, that it employs, which also has a kind of fluidity with it. That I think is both very inviting to some and perhaps quite shocking and quite confrontational to others. So I think it also suggests and lends itself to a whole myriad of possible modes of engagement and interpretation, as do, I think, the Fassbinder films overall do as well. I mean, I remember when I first saw this film many, many years ago. I was in college, and I was very fortunate to have been able to have access at the time via VHS tapes primarily to a lot of the Fassbinder films that had up to then not been made available to me. So it was a real intense period of Fassbinder exploration and journeys. I was watching as many as I could, and along the way, QUERELLE came across my way, and I was very much, again, upon initial watches of this film, I was very much struggling with it. I was trying to engage with it, but I got lost in a number of its, say, subtexts, and so. But over the years, upon rewatching and revisiting it, and also re-engaging with the Fassbinder aesthetic overall, and then QUERELLE specifically, it became this very, very alluring and quite sudden, provocative work to me. And I think it is very much inviting that type of, as I say, myriad possibilities of interpretation, as well as a kind of film of what one might call, to a certain degree anyway, within the context of, say, cinematic poetry or Fassbinder or cinematic aesthetic, it could be said to be a film of a certain degree of extremes. And so in that way, it sits very, I think, very contextually within the Fassbinder body of work, while also, I think, sitting quite uneasy, which I think is a very bold and dynamic and quite refreshing way that the film sits within his body of work, as well as others. So I look forward to being able to speak about this film when the time comes. So QUERELLE is coming to the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. So this is quite this is quite a surprise. So I'm looking forward to being able to revisit this film. I'm also pleased, should note, that the Blu-ray option will be made available, as well as the single disc DVD. So as I mentioned, it's always great to see the DVD option being made available. It's not across the board with all the releases, I know, but when it does arrive, or when it is made available, I think that's a great cause for celebration. The DVD format is still very strong. It's very important. And so it's quite good indeed to see this. For this film, again, wow. Some of the images and some of the things that one will see in terms of landscape and structure and environments, as well as some of the stylistic choices of say, symbols and symbolism is very, very bold and daring indeed. So it'll be quite I think, a great opportunity to be able to engage with this film and speak about this. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity when it arrives. Again, this is scheduled for release June 11th, 2024, and this is the Fassbinder work that is QUERELLE. Next, scheduled for release on June 18th, 2024, and this is for a single disc Blu-ray option or a 2-disc 4K plus Blu-ray option. And this is scheduled for release again June 18th for Spy number 1220. And this is a film which is described as being from 1996. And this is the work which is Bound from the Wachowskis. So Bound is coming to the Criterion Collection as well. Wow. Wow. And the 4K, so it's new 4K digital restoration, and supervised and approved by cinematographer Bill Pope. So, wow, Bound is coming to the Criterion Collection as well. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I remember when this film was released, and it caused quite a stir and sensation. It, in many ways, I think, established the Wachowskis on the maps of on the minds of many a cinema goer in a very wonderful and really hyper intense way. That is, in many ways, a type of train of thought and a through line of continuity, with a sense of thriller and the noirish tendencies, as well as a very intense and vivid vision that is relying a lot on style and eroticism and kind of a nature of relationships and surprises as well. I remember seeing this film. There were a lot of interesting twists to this that made it really compelling watch indeed. There was so much happening within this, and to think about this now in the context, say, of the work, the body of work of the Wachowskis writ large, but also thinking about it on its own terms. I think it's really exciting film. Wow, I remember seeing this around the time of its initial release, and it was very exciting indeed. Very, very exciting. So, Bound is coming to the Criterion Collection. This is amazing, and I just want to point out the great. I mean, the artwork so far is great. I forgot to mention that really vivid and bold artwork design for QUERELLE, which is really wonderful. And let me just, before I forget, for QUERELLE, the artwork is credited to Astra Zero. So that's very interesting artwork for QUERELLE. And then for Bound here, we have the artwork, according to the site here, a new cover by our dear friend, Sister Hyde Design. So Drusilla, Sister Hyde, our dear friend of this channel. So wonderful to see the work, Sister Hyde work, continuing to be very, very strong indeed. And here it looks really impressionistic, and I like the bold brushstrokes that could be suggestive of, say, kind of a chaos or blood or whatever the case is. So, wow, Bound is coming to the Criterion Collection, and 4K digital restoration is the basis for this presentation. Plus a number of interviews, plus a new video essay, as well as others. So I don't know, again, I'm not, I admit I'm not familiar with the physical media release history of this film, but I've seen the film a number of times, and so it'll be great to be able to revisit this when it arrives. Once again, June 18th, 2024 is the scheduled release date for this film, which is Bound. Next, scheduled for release on June 18th as well, 2024. And this is also for a single disc Blu-ray or a single disc DVD. So once again, kudos to Criterion and company for making the DVD option still available. And this is for a film described or scheduled for release under Spy number 1222, and the film is described as being from the year 1951. And the filmmaker is Emilio Fernandez, and the name of the film is, in English, is given here as Victims of Sin. So I have not seen this film, Victims of Sin, but I have heard a little bit about this. And I've heard a little bit about this from, I think, a number of interviews of filmmakers who are speaking about the cinema of Mexico, and some titles from what's regarded, what I understand is being regarded as a kind of golden age of Mexico cinema. In that context, the discussion of this filmmaker, Fernandez, has come up. So I do know just a very faint trace of understanding of this film, but it is, of course, not having seen it, but being very excited for this. And so this is very, very exciting for me. And I again, my limited exposure to the cinema of Mexico makes me intrigued by this, but I think the Criterion Collection has done, I think, a considerable degree with other past releases to help me with my own journey into the cinema of Mexico. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I also understand there is a kind of again, I haven't read too much about it, so I want to save the surprises for when I watch the film. But I do. My understanding is that there might be some really great, like heightened dramatic points and beats, which is one of the great selling points of the cinema of Mexico during this time. And so if that's the case, then this is, I think, going to be a very robust and very entertaining work indeed. So I'm looking forward to this very, very much. This is great, absolutely great. And it looks like it's purported to be based on what is described as a new 4K digital restoration. So as I said, I'm not at all an expert in this particular film, so therefore I don't know the release history or the presentation history of this. But oh gosh, yes, yes, I do recall certain comments made by contemporary filmmakers about this period and Fernandez in particular. So wow, this is going to be great indeed. So film I have not seen. But that is making me quite intrigued indeed. So this is scheduled for release June 18th, 2024 for Spine 1222, and this is Victims of Sin. And by the way, also really very intriguing artwork. According to this, Lauren Tamaki is credited for the cover art design, so very cool indeed. Next, scheduled for release June 25th, 2024, and this is for a title that will be assigned Spine number 1223. And again, we have the Blu-ray option or the DVD option. One thing, the DVD option is being made available here. That's really wonderful. 4 discs Blu-ray or 4 discs DVD. So, and this is a work which is described as being from the year 2021, and the filmmaker is Barry Jenkins. And the name of the work is The Underground Railroad. So I have heard a lot about this. Another work that I have not seen, unfortunately, but fortunately for me, the Criterion Collection is going to be making it available. I have heard a lot of things about this from a number of friends and viewers of this channel who have recommended this work to me. I've been told that it has a kind of epic sweep to it, and it's quite involved and quite long and quite engaging in that respect. So, and I think therefore the 4 discs accounts for that, or is covering the running. Yes, of course, yes. Here there's a running length, running time description here for the Criterion release. So it looks quite. It's a kind of a series format. That's my understanding. So I'm 2021. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch up with this, but here I have the opportunity to. So the Underground Railroad. Again, heard about it faintly, but having not seen it yet, I will. Very much be looking forward to this when it does arrive. And it looks like that among the things that are going to be included as part of its packaging here, we have audio commentary, a 4K digital master, and also another companion film by Barry Jenkins, as well as a new graphic novel adaptation of Genesis, an unfilmed chapter of the Underground Railroad. So that is very interesting indeed as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the packaging has in store here for us as well. It's always nice to get little bits of the paraphernalia and the memorabilia of the extra goodies of physical media packaging. And so this has the potential of being a kind of robust, thick release in terms of the physical media dimensions and stuff. So I look forward to that as well as of course engaging with the work primarily. So the Underground Railroad from 2021. So another work that I have not yet seen, but I've heard faintly about it. So looking forward to this as well, and then also continuing a kind of line of works, the continuation of works of a given filmmaker. Barry Jenkins' works have also seen a number of releases in the Criterion Collection. So this is another maybe indication of maybe things to come, as well as a celebration of his work writ large. So. Well done. So looking forward to this one, which is The Underground Railroad, again scheduled for release June 25th, 2024. And last but certainly not least, also scheduled for release on June 25th, 2024. And this is for a title which already exists in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog at spine number 977. But this time, on the occasion of this June 2024 release, we will get the option of the 4K plus Blu-ray release of this. And so this is a work which is described as being from 1986. And the filmmaker is David Lynch. And the name of the work is Blue Velvet. So Blue Velvet is re-emerging in the Criterion collection, and it already exists in a very fascinating Blu-ray release, which is what I have on the shelf. But now we have the opportunity of the 4K plus Blu-ray release as well. And so this is also continuing the line of a particular given filmmaker's body of work, but then getting robust releases in the Criterion collection. And David Lynch is one such filmmaker who, for the most part, for the films that are currently existing in the Criterion collection, we have Blu-ray options, or for some of those titles, the 4K option as well. And so Blue Velvet will be joining the ranks of the 4K Criterion pantheon of David Lynch works. And this is a film which is how does one describe Blue Velvet? It's a stunner. It is a stunner. It's a very frightening world, rich and strange and beautiful things that are also sickening and chaotic and frightening and dark and inviting and hypnotic. But the avenues that the film invites us on, as we go further down, or we follow some of the characters that we go further down these dark avenues, we're not quite sure what we're going to find along the way, but what we do find can be quite brutal and quite grotesque, and the creepy crawlies under the skin or within the ground that otherwise displays this sort of the cool exterior, beautiful veneer finish of the so-called white picket fences and the freshly mowed lawns and the kind of slice of life of Americana that is very dreamlike, or perhaps is a fantasy, or perhaps is something that is a type of idealized version of Americana, the slice of life, but underneath in that oh so David Lynch fashion, or emerging from the darkness, we have things that are both beautiful and strange. And so in many ways, Blue Velvet is in many ways the kind of embodiment, if you will, of David Lynch's work. And it is timeless. It also is very much of its time. It is also of the times of other periods that it's, I think, meant to evoke. That is through its landscape and visual palette, as well as its musical palette. And therefore we have, I think, a very rich and dreamlike and nightmare-like vision of the world and the community, both a kind of closely knit community, but also the stakes as we kind of feel beyond the borders of the film, of the contours of the film frame itself. So Criterion is re-releasing Blue Velvet. Oh gosh. Criterion's, what is it? Criterion's love letter straight to our hearts, for those who are fans of the Blue Velvet and the David Lynch work. It'll be interesting to see how this holds up, because I think the Blu-ray release of Blue Velvet is quite strong and quite reliable. So it'll be interesting to see what the 4K has in store for us. I mean, it's always we have to evaluate these things on a case-by-case basis. So it'll be fun to be able to do that. Plus, also to be able to revisit this film. I've seen this so many times. So many times I've lost count. But I don't think I've spoken about it on this channel. So it'll be, again, an opportunity to be able to try to flex my muscles in talking about Blue Velvet. It's a very kind of intimidating affair to be able to contemplate, because it's a very complex world indeed. But I'll do my best. Very delicate, bold, beautiful, and grotesque is that landscape that we find ourselves when we watch Blue Velvet. What a film this is. So it is re-emerging in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog, but in this time with the 4K plus Blu-ray release, and scheduled for release June 25th, 2024. That's the David Lynch work, Blue Velvet. My goodness. A candy-colored clown they call a Sandman. Okay, so that's it as far as the planned releases for June 2024, at least according to the Criterion website. I mean, I say that's it, but that it, once again, is quite a robust and filled to the brim type of it indeed. So that's it, asterisk. But, let us note that it's a very robustly filled it. Filled with a number of re-releases, but this time employing the 4K plus Blu-ray release editions, and I'm speaking, of course, of Fear and Loathing, Las Vegas, and Blue Velvet. We also see the 4K offering being made available for the Wachowski work, Bound, which is also a very surprising, stunning turn. So I'm looking forward to being able to revisit this. And then the final work, feature work of Fassbinder, which is QUERELLE, a really kind of uh, kind of bold and shocking endeavor indeed. This film is, so it'll be fascinating to be able to re-engage with this. But in the context of this Criterion release, it's nice to see the Blu-ray and DVD option being made available there, and then plus two works which I have not yet been able to watch directly. So these will be first-time viewings for me. Looking forward to this immensely. The first being Emilio Fernandez's work "Victims of Sin," which is also being made available for the Blu-ray or the DVD option. And then the Barry Jenkins work from 2021, The Underground Railroad, also DVD and also Blu-ray. So you have your choice of the DVD option or the Blu-ray option for those select titles that we mentioned here today. So it looks like a very, very large lineup here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles for June. Very packed indeed. So I'm and also I don't know if we have any box sets per se, but the Underground Railroad, with its number of discs and also the plethora of stuff that seems to be planned to be made available for that. That seems to have the makings of a set or some kind of set itself. So we'll see what that looks like when it comes time to actually exploring that. So maybe it'll be the same dimensions and size as we've seen other sets like the Chantal Akerman set or the Eric Romer set from earlier this year. So if that's the case, the dimensions will be the same, but maybe utilizing the Digipack box format. But looking forward to that, whatever the case may be for the packaging. But wow, what a month! I mean, I think I say that every time, right? What a month from Criterion, but I really mean that each time. There seems to be this great eclectic mix of things going on, both both new releases and things that are already currently existing. So that's great. And what a vivid approach and different voices that are being expressed here. And some films I haven't seen at all, and others I haven't seen in quite a while. And then there are others that I'm maybe more familiar with in terms of my repeat viewership of them. And so maybe in the first category, I would put The Underground Railroad and Victims of Sin. So I'm very much engaged with those. And then Bound and QUERELLE, maybe those are films that I haven't seen recently or lately, but I have seen them a number of times before in my life. And then Blue Velvet and Fear and Loathing, Las Vegas. These are films that I've seen a little bit more frequently. But I haven't spoken about these or any of these films on this channel. So wow, it'll be a great opportunity to be able to speak about that. And wow, this is quite stunning indeed. Personal journey of mine has been quite slowly, and I admit maybe in somewhat of a limited fashion, based on my own maybe lack of expertise and etc. But one of my own cinema journeys going forward is continuing the exploration of the cinema of Mexico. So in that way, Victims of Sin, I think for me might be the standout, although it seems to be across the board a series of standouts. They are all standouts, I think. Oh gosh, wow. QUERELLE, Bound, Victims of Sin, The Underground Railroad, and then Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and Blue Velvet. This is gonna be like a mind-exploding month indeed. But aren't they all when we're talking about the Criterion Collection? So, and I mean that in a very positive way. So. But my dear friends, that is the state of things when it comes to June 2024. So always check back to the website. There might be some changes. There might be some Janus Contemporaries titles that could be released, and they might make their appearance on the website after we've had this discussion. So always please check back to the Criterion Collection website for more information if and when you can. But other than that, my dear friends, what do you think? What do you think about the month of June? planned for Criterion, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I'm very much interested to hear what it is you have to say. But wow, gosh, my goodness, boom, things are happening. Things are happening. They're always happening, but they continue to happen here with the Criterion title. So very, very excited for this. But how do you feel? Please, of course, let me know anytime, my dear friends. And also, now where I'm making this video, it's Saturday. So if you're going to catch this video right now and it's still the weekend for you, please enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your time. And wherever you are in the world, whatever the case is for you, my dear friends, please enjoy yourselves and take very, very good care of yourselves. And once you've taken care of yourselves and those important to you, your family, your friends, and loved ones, when you've taken care of everything that is dear to you, important to you, please keep on watching a lot of great movies. I mean that. Keep on watching a lot of great movies, because, my dear friends, you deserve it. So, with that, I hope that this video finds you well, or has found you well. It certainly has found me well, because of the news of this great release from Criterion, as well as other things as well. So, but my dear friends, until the next video, please continue to be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. So until the next one, thank you and cheers.